In 1991, regulators in 72 countries received the same phone call on the same morning. Shut it down. Now. All of it. Within hours, branches from London to Lagos, from Hong Kong to Houston were locked, padlocked, armed guards at the doors. 1.4 million customers woke up that morning with money in their accounts. By noon, it was gone. $13 billion. Vanished. But here's what the news didn't tell you. This wasn't just a bank. This was the financial backbone of the Medellín cartel. This was where Saddam Hussein hid his weapons money. According to a 1992 U.S. Senate investigation, American intelligence agencies were linked to BCCI in covert funding operations that Congress never officially approved. This wasn't a rumor, this was in an 800-page government document, signed, published, on the record, and it operated in plain sight for 19 years. This is the story of BCCI. 1972. Karachi, Pakistan, a man named Aga Hassan Abedi walks into a meeting with Sheikh Zayed of Abu Dhabi. He has a dream, not just a bank for the developing world, a bank that would give power to nations that Western banks ignored, a bank built on trust, brotherhood, and Islam. Sheikh Zayed was moved. He wrote a check. Bank of Credit and Commerce International was born. Within 5 years, BCCI had offices in 32 countries. Within 10 years, 78 countries, $20 billion in assets, 30,000 employees worldwide. On paper, it was a miracle. A third world bank that had beaten the Western financial establishment at its own game. The Financial Times praised it. Western governments courted it. Celebrities banked with it. But behind the marble lobbies and the silk-suited managers, something else was being built entirely. It started small. A customer in Panama needed to move some cash quietly, no questions asked. BCCI obliged. That customer was Manuel Noriega, the military dictator of Panama. Word spread fast in the right circles. If you need to move money, dirty money, blood money, drug money, BCCI is your bank. By the mid-1980s, BCCI had become the official bank of the Medellín cartel. Pablo Escobar's cocaine money, laundered through BCCI branches in Luxembourg, the Cayman Islands, London, billions every year. But drugs were just the beginning. Abu Nidal, the world's most wanted terrorist at the time, banked with BCCI. Arms dealers moving weapons to Iraq during the Iran-Iraq War, BCCI. Saddam Hussein's secret accounts, BCCI. And then the detail that changes everything. Senator John Kerry, yes, the same John Kerry who later became U.S. Secretary of State, spent 2 years investigating BCCI. His final report to the U.S. Senate in 1992 was 800 pages long, and his conclusion was devastating. According to the U.S. Senate investigation of 1992, American intelligence agencies were linked to BCCI in covert funding operations that Congress could never officially approve. This wasn't a conspiracy theory. It was in an 800-page government document, signed, published, on record. So this is the part that should keep you awake. BCCI wasn't hidden. Investigators knew. As early as 1978, the Bank of England had concerns. They were told to stand down. In 1986, U.S. Customs launched an undercover operation. Agents posed as drug money launderers. BCCI took the bait immediately, helped them move millions, no questions asked. The evidence was overwhelming, but the case was buried. Why? Because BCCI had friends in places you cannot imagine. Former U.S. Defense Secretary Clark Clifford sat on BCCI's American board. He was 81 years old, a legend of Washington, untouchable. Saudi investors with direct lines to the White House. British politicians who'd accepted BCCI hospitality for years. Every time an investigation got close, a phone call was made, a door was closed, a file was lost. For 19 years, the most criminal bank in history operated with the quiet protection of the most powerful. His name was Robert Morgenthau, District Attorney of Manhattan, and he was furious. The federal investigation had been buried. According to Senate records, pressure had been applied to keep the case from moving forward. Washington wanted BCCI to disappear quietly. Morgenthau didn't care. He launched his own investigation in 1989. He subpoenaed records, he flipped witnesses, he followed the money all the way to the top. What he found was beyond anything his team had expected. $13 billion in fraudulent loans that would never be repaid. Accounts for dictators, terrorists, and cartels across 73 countries. A black network, BCCI's words, not mine, a secret internal unit that handled the most sensitive criminal operations. By 1991, Morgenthau had enough. He went to the Bank of England. This time, they couldn't say no. On July 5th, 1991, coordinated raids in 72 countries simultaneously. The same morning, 1,400 branches locked, $20 billion in assets frozen, 30,000 employees out of a job, and 1.4 million ordinary customers, teachers, doctors, small business owners from Pakistan to Brixton lost everything. Not the cartel bosses, not the dictators, not the officials linked in Senate reports, the ordinary people. They always pay last, and they always pay everything. Aga Hassan Abedi, the founder, and died in 1995. Never prosecuted, Clark Clifford, the Washington legend, was indicted at age 85. His trial was halted. He was too ill to stand. He died 4 years later, at home, in comfort. Of the $13 billion stolen, less than $2 billion was ever recovered. The Medellín cartel's money, gone. Saddam Hussein's accounts, gone. According to Senate investigators, the full picture of who benefited was never fully revealed in open court. BCCI is taught in exactly 0 mainstream business schools. The journalists who broke the story won Pulitzer Prizes and were then largely forgotten. And the system that allowed BCCI to exist, the offshore accounts, the regulatory blind eyes, the powerful friends, that system is still running right now, today. Different name, different marble lobby, same phone calls. Every empire falls the same way. First slowly, then all at once. I'm Empire Decoded, and the next collapse is already happening. Subscribe, because when it falls, you'll want to have known first.